Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Jesse's Garage. We're excited to have you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're always happy to see you in the audience that way. Well, today we're coming at you with a video about owner's marks. Have you ever picked up some tools, maybe at a garage sale or estate sale or an auction, and you see that somebody took some kind of tool and engraved their initials in it, or maybe they even stamped their initials in it? Of course, they did that a lot, right? And maybe people still do that today. I don't, by the way, but there's a lot of people that do that. They wanted to make sure, especially if I can see that, if they're in a big shop, they wanted to make sure they don't get their tools confused with somebody else. Well, have you ever wondered about the story that maybe went with those particular tools that you picked up? Well, I got to tell you, I was out and about, and I went to respond to a garage sale ad that I seen on Facebook, and I couldn't make a deal out of too much out of there, so I was heading on home, and lo and behold, I seen another garage sale. And I got to tell you, sometimes I'm a sucker for those things. I just go and follow the signs and just see. Well, anyways, I went to another garage sale, and so as I did, I walked up to the house and I kind of looked around just a little bit, and they had this one little small bundle of some pliers taped up. And I said, "Hey," I said, "is this all the tools you have?" And they said, "Yeah, you just missed them. We had other tools that were set out." I said, "Oh man, doggone it! I'm always a day late and a dollar short, aren't I?" And so they laughed, and we just started talking a little bit. Well, I'm going to tell you, I met an awesome couple named Bill, and I am so sorry I didn't get his wife's name, but they were awesome. In fact, have you ever just spoken to somebody for just a moment, and you could just tell by the tone of their voice and just their demeanor, just that they're good people? Well, that was Bill and his lovely wife. And I got to tell you, we just were having a good time, just cracking up, and he was asking, what kind of tools I collect, and I said, I really like the older stuff. I like the vintage type stuff. I said, and I told him, I said, we have a YouTube channel, and I have some awesome people that watch our channel, and so we love picking up good deals, and we have a true appreciation for vintage tools. And I said, that's kind of what we do. We restore them, we do some finds, and talk about some deals and different things like that. And so they said, his wife said, "Well, hey, Bill, you have some old tools. Maybe you want to show him some of those." And our eyes popped open, and I said, "Yeah, Bill, don't you want to show me some?" Is what I was thinking. And so, Bill, he's a pretty modest guy, and he went through and he said, "Yeah, I think I do. I don't know if I want to get rid of them, but yeah, I think I do." I said, "Well, hey, I'd just be happy to look at them just to kind of get the history on them and just kind of check out, see what you have." And he said, "Well, come on over." So he went over to a toolbox that he had, and he opened them up. And let me tell you, if I had to put it in a phrase, what transpired next was just truly amazing, because I think Bill had these sets of tools, and so let me tell you a little bit about these. So these sets of tools had owner's marks in them, and so they were passed down from both his grandfathers, passed them down to the family, to him. And so he wasn't able to pick them up right away. They lived in Illinois, and so they went through and they gave them to his mom to hold on to them for Bill. So his mom held on to these tools literally all the way up to 2019. And so at that point, then Bill was able to receive them into his toolbox there. And you can always tell when a person has their tools laid out what kind of appreciation they have for tools. And I got to tell you, I really appreciated about Bill is that he had everything just nice and neat and straightened out. It was just a beautiful display, trying to show honor to his mother and his grandparents. And so his grandparents, incidentally, were named Bill and also Paul. And so his mom's name was Betty. And so I got to tell you, you could just tell that he just had appreciation, and everybody probably just had an appreciation for the tools. Well, anyways, and so we got to talking a little bit, and his wife said, "Well, Bill, it sounds like he does some really cool stuff on his channel. Maybe he's the guy that you might want to let him go to." And I just thought, wow, really? I was just totally surprised. And so Bill says, you know what? I've held on to these. They've been in the family a long, long time. I think I get the feeling you're the right guy that should have these. And I got to tell you, oh my goodness, I was just so blown away, so honored that somebody would let their family heirlooms, such as their tools, be released in my possession that way for my care and keeping. So, Bill, your wife, thank you so very much for entrusting me with this. And so, are you ready? Let's kind of show everybody what kind of heirlooms you were passed down, and then how you entrusted it to me. Let's get the camera turned around and let's take a peek of what Bill and his lovely wife were able to let go. All right, here we go. Okay, we are back. Well, so there was a few sets that Bill was able to let me take away and put into the collection here. But let's start off with some of the miscellaneous things first. I think that'll probably be more fitting. Let's start off with some of the different ones. Now remember, Bill had two grandparents. One was Bill or William, and the other one was Paul. And so I think this is going to become pretty evident. He wasn't quite sure exactly which tool sets were to each one, but I kind of got an idea, and if not, I think it might be a good assumption for us to kind of run into it. So let me kind of show you some of the goodies here. First and foremost, we'll start off with he had this pair of vice grip type pliers. He had this pliers here. Now, if you'll notice, look how straight those jaws are. Man, that's kind of cool, isn't it? And you can tell that it's been around for a little while. In fact, I'll try to look this up and put it in the camera here. But you know how some of the newer ones have that little release lever. This one doesn't. But notice I was able to find a manufacturer on here, and so Sure Grip Company, and so patent pending in Rockford, Illinois, and so. My goodness, this thing is a beast. It feels good in the hand, has a nice grip back here, and so the teeth or the jaws are on here. They look pretty doggone good as well. Everything functions, and you'll notice this part, how it goes in, it slides back and forth there. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so this one just needs a little cleaning, and then it's back into the box. And I got to tell you, what a beaut, right? Look at that. So Sure Grip Company, and so Rockford, Illinois. Love that thing. Love it, love it, love it. Now, some of the tools have owner's marks on them, and so I kind of attribute those to William or Bill, and then I'm going to assume that the stuff that doesn't have the owner's marks probably came from his other grandfather, Paul. And so let's kind of run with that assumption. Now, Bill, if you're watching, you and your wife, if you have some other details, make sure you put it down below in the comments. We'd love to hear the backstory. But you know, that's what's so cool about this is that you know, we always wonder what kind of person were they, or where did they come from, or that sort of thing. And now we have a little bit of a backstory here. I think that's cool as all get out, don't you? All right, so there's one. From there, he had a couple other miscellaneous tools that we'll look at here. So I don't know how this one got in there. It must have been in one of the other sets here, but this is a hex key socket. It says SA 3/4 inch. Now I don't collect a lot of these, but nevertheless I do have some. So we'll make sure that we put that into the proper area there. But notice he also had some BE stuff. And so some old Craftsman. And so with the BE, the underline Craftsman BE. This is an extension, probably like a 5-inch extension or so. And so the condition of this thing is just phenomenal. Love that. Now, if you've been watching our show, you know we love some Craftsman BE around here. We got a nice collection of that going on there. So Bill, I'm just honored to have that and take care of that for you from this point forward. All right, so speaking of Craftsman, he had this thin wrench that we have here, and so tappet wrench. That's what I was trying to think about what it was called. So this is a Craftsman number 2, and so as we come over here, This is a single line V. And we got a couple series of these going on, so that's kind of cool. So the 1/2 inch and then also the 9/16. Now, a person may not think that they would use this very much, but I got to tell you, I just used mine, one of mine that I have in my collection, just yesterday. I had that low tolerance that I was trying to get into, very, very little bit of space, and man, this was perfect. It fit right in there. So I love those. Man, I pick those up whenever I can. So Bill had that in his collection, so we're happy to add that there. I'm going to put it right down here just to kind of add a little bit of separation. You know how my OCD is. I try to get everything going in the right direction there. All right. He had a breaker bar that I would imagine that maybe some of these, I don't see any owner's marks on this. And based on what I can tell, you know, his grandfather, William or Bill, he put owner's marks on his tools, and this one did not have it. So we're going to assume this one maybe came from Paul. So let me get it turned around just a little bit. And so you'll notice this one here, it's a Herbrand. And so you might remember we got a little bit of a Herbrand collection going on. So it's a 1/2 inch breaker bar that's there. But not only is it a 1/2 inch breaker bar, but we got the little T-handle slot there. But also look back here. It also has a place for the anvil. So that way, if you needed to extend it on or whatever it is we're going to do with that, has a place for that. Now this one here is the S13, it looks like. And so make sure I'm reading that correctly there. I think I am. And so, wow, look at that. That's a beautiful, beautiful piece. You can tell it has a little bit of smashing down here, but my goodness, by the time we degrease this and polish it up, this thing will be spectacular. Proud, proud, proud to have that in the collection. So I'm going to put that right back there to make sure we don't lose focus of that other wrench. Okay, from there he had some SK type stuff, and so he had this box that was sitting in there, and so I said, "Hey, how about that box? What do you probably have some nice SK type tools in there?" And he said, "Yeah, you know, I don't use it that often at all. In fact, I don't use it hardly ever. So let's look at it." And so as I opened it up, you can tell that logo on that box is still nice. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. Now you can tell the tools have been used a little bit, but I went through and I looked for owner's marks on here, and I don't see any on here at all. So maybe this was Paul's. And so as we go through and look at this, beautiful, beautiful ratchet. Man, it works excellent. And so both directions. So it probably just needs a little bit of oil on it. So there's that side. And then flip it back over to this side. There we go. And so I think it just needs a little bit of cleaning, and bam, this bad boy is in business. But as far as rust, no. As far as a little bit of grime, yeah. So, but we have, we can address that easy, right? So we have the ratchet. We also have this extension here, probably like a 10-inch extension or so. And so now, one thing I didn't point out is that this is the SK, the diamond logo SK. And so this is a 42470, 42470. And then as we go through, we have the SK diamond logo SK that matches that. And then as we go through, we have a shorter, like a little 4 or 5 incher here, same thing, matching SK that we have there. And so we got 2 extensions going on with this set. And then we have, I believe, a complete set. Now you might look in here, check all of this dirt out. My goodness. You can tell this was a more working man's tools. And just based on the quality of what I'm seeing here with what we picked up from Bill and his lovely wife, you know, his grandparents, man, they had some good taste going on there, because there's some nice stuff that we had that we got entrusted with. So here is an SK 40114, and then this one is the 7/16. And so again, just needs a little bit of cleaning on there. So 7/16, and then it goes up to 1/2 inch, and then probably 9/16, I would imagine. Yep, 9/16, and probably 5/8. Let's see if we were right. And so 5/8, and then it just keeps on going up the line. So 11/16, probably 3/4, I would imagine. Yep, 3/4, and then we probably got a 15/16 or so, 13/16. So we got a 13/16. Now this one here, I didn't take it out because I wanted to just show you exactly what we got here, but this is just like a little rag that's stuffed in here. And so for whatever reason, but anyway, so there's that. And then this one is probably, or the 7/8, and then this one might be the 1-incher maybe, or no, 15/16. I knew it was coming. I knew it. All right, so there's another one that we got there. And so from there, a couple things that he had that was not in there was another socket. And so this is an SK Wayne socket though, that he happened to get. And so 3/4 inch. And then now this is newer than what this is over here. And then this was a 40190 extension, swivel extension. And so swivel adapter. And so they're both 1/2 inch that way. And so 1/2 inch drive, 1/2 inch swivel adapter that way. All right, so that's another awesome find. And so check this out with what we got here. So we love that. See if I can get this back in place until we can get it cleaned up here. Seems like I never get them back in the right order, but we'll see. All right, so there we go. So that is a nice, beautiful SK set. Just needs to be cleaned up just a little bit, right? And so how beautiful is that? So let's see if we can make some room right over here. And so we're gonna try to get everything in frame that we have here. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So thank you very much again, Bill. Now, so that was part of what, that was one drawer. And then he opened up another drawer, and lo and behold, can you believe? Can you believe it? When I looked at the drawer, one of the very first things that I seen in the drawer is this Plum Ratchet. And so it's a Plum 5449. Now this one isn't the pebble handle; it is the knurled handled ratchet here. But my goodness, this thing is in nice. Listen to that, nice condition. Man, flips back and forth, super easy. This thing is beautiful, beautiful. You can tell that they took really good care of their tools. Now remember that the owner's marks, WCR. Now, when I looked at Bill, he wrote down some of this information for me. His name is Bill. His grandfather's name was William or Bill. And that last name, R, matches that. So this goes right along with that, Bill. So this goes right along with what you were telling me. This is probably your Grandpa Bill's ratchet. Man, look at that. That is awesome, right? And so look at that. It's beautiful. And look at the condition. Now, you know, some people, they use these doggone ratchets for a hammer, but I don't see that. I don't see any markings on here that would indicate that he would ever abuse his tools. Goodness, love it, love it, love it. And just a story that his grandfather left him the tools, and then got passed down to his mom to hold on to them, and then passed down to him, and then now it's in our collection. Oh my goodness. I am so honored beyond belief. So that was one. And so the other thing that I noticed in regards to that is that he had some sockets. And so as we go through and look at this, he had a set of sockets here. I don't think it's a complete set, but nevertheless, 5436 Plum. And so it's a 1 1/8. And so you can tell, look at that. Look how clean that is. Man, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So there's one. The next one, now this one here has a little bit of moisture, a little bit of dechroming scenario going on there. But nevertheless, we can still clean it up to some degree. So 1 1/16, and so 5434. Remember, this one was the 5436, so it's part of the matching set, that 5400 series. And so this one's a 5432. So we love that. And we got 3 more sockets. And so this is at probably 5430. And so 15/16 inch right there. And then as we go through, we look at the 7/8 here, and that is a 5428. And so, wow, look at that, man. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. We got the matching set. Again, we got a little bit of all this surface rust that's on here. Actually, it's kind of even starting to probably get into the pitted scenario. Now this one here, you could barely tell 54, and so I can't quite read read what that is there. So, but this is the next size down, and it is part of that same 5400 series. So that was that. Man, how beautiful is that, right? And so, wow, wow, wow. I love that. Love it, love it. So we got you got the ratchet, and we got the sockets that kind of go along with that. It's just beautiful. Goodness. All right. So from there, we went through and I can't remember if it was the same drawer or a different drawer, but we went through and he had some plum wrenches. And so went through and I looked at those, and he said, yeah, these are older, and so you can tell his dad or grandpa's marks on there, WCR, and so we can tell that they're probably bills. So the first half was, I'm going to assume, from Paul, and then this part is going to be from Bill. So we got a double open end and 5/8 and a 9/16. My goodness, look at that. Is that beautiful or what? All right, so we got that. And then he had another one. Man, look at that. And so 3/4, 11/16, double open end, and incidentally 30/35. And this one here is a 30/30. And so, wow, now we got two. How beautiful is that, right? And so, but it doesn't stop there. It's a 7/8 and 3/4 and the 30/39. It looks like right here. So that's part of this matching set. And so now we got three. And so it doesn't stop there. Goodness, now this one has a little bit of red that somebody painted on there. But the 30/45, it's a 1 inch on this side and a 15/16 on that side. So part of that 3000 series again. So wow, love that. And then we have one more in the double open end. So that way I don't keep leading you on here. So 1 and 1/16 and 1 and 1/8. The same 3000 series of 30/50. My goodness. Wow, look at that. Now we got a whole set of open end wrenches here that we have from Bill's grandpa and his personal collection that he's been holding on to. And how honored am I for Bill and his lovely wife to be able to entrust us with this that way. So, man, beautiful. All right. Well, and so inside that same drawer, because he had them nice and laid out beautiful, well, he had a set of double box end wrenches. And so we have here this 11/16 that's on this side, and then we have 5/8 over here. And so this one here is the 11/34. It's the number 11/34. But my goodness, these will clean up nice. No problem with that at all. So the next size up goes up from there. And notice we got a 11/37. So make sure we're talking about the same series, 11/34, 11/37. Goodness, look at that. Wow, so now we got another set started here. So that's cool as all get out. And then this one here is the 1100 series, 1140, 7/8, and then 13/16. And so, wow, look at that. So now we got another one added onto that collection. And then from there, this is the 1145. And so this is a 1 1/4, and on that side, and 1 5/16 on this side. So wow, look at that. So how beautiful is that, right? So now we got 4 going on here, and then we actually have 2 more. And so we look at here, yeah, it's the same, 1150 now. And so as we're looking at this one here, 1 in, let's see here, I'm trying to read that. I can't quite read it off camera. 1 1/8 maybe. And let's see what this one is, 1 1/16. All right, and so that would be the next size up, the same 1100, so it's 1150. So we have that one there. Kind of scoot over here and kind of put together this, and then the next size, which is going to be the larger size that we had in this nice little collection, 1 1/4, the 1151, and so this is a 1 1/16. Again, that plum. Now these aren't the pebble handled, but still, nevertheless, it's the plum and a set, and they all have those owner's marks. Now, typically, I hate it when people put in the owner's marks, but I got to thinking ever since I was able to get these from Bill and his lovely wife. This is one set I do not mind having the owner's marks, because now we know the story behind the tool. My goodness. We have Bill and his lovely wife, and then we talk about Betty, his mama, and then we talk about Paul, which I'm assuming is some of this stuff back here, and then we talk about Bill, his grandfather, which is this stuff over here. How beautiful is that? Now, I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking this might be, just my assumption, this might be something that came from maybe Paul. Because Paul had this back here. He had some good taste. Obviously, they both did. But first thing I'll show you is that when we hold it up here, you'll notice that this socket rail is the old SnapOn logo. It has that long underline and it has that slanted dash in the middle there. Wow, look at that. Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful socket rail. And so as we go through, it hangs on the side of the cabinet that way. Came with this. I left it in there because I don't know what it was for. Obviously, he made a tool of some sort. Now, remember, we have a collection going on where people get inventive and they make their own tools, right? So I left that right in here because plus I want to keep it together as a set because it really kind of shows just how creative people can be. But anyways, this is the socket rail, SnapOn vintage socket rail. Love that, love it, love it. But let's look at some of the sockets. Now, I will tell you, it's not a matching set all the way through and through, but we have some goodies though. Craftsman BE, and so 1 1/8. Look at that, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we have that. The next one is a Craftsman BE as well. And so here we are, the BE, and then this one is the 1 1/16. And so we got a couple vintage Craftsmans that we go and look at there. But now notice as we come around the bend here, we have some old vintage Snap-ons as well. My goodness, made in the USA. You can tell the Snap-on that's there. Man, goodness. Now I have some of these Snap-ons that way. You can see the logo on this one a little bit better. So the Snap-on there, 15/16. And so that was another way that people started to go through and color code some of their stuff is maybe some paint. So some people did that. We noticed over all the tool hauls we've done, Snap-on 7/8. And so, my goodness, love that. And then we got another Snap-on. And so notice this is the SW250. What was this one here? SW probably. Yeah, SW280. This one was the SW, because I think it's a matching set. Let's see, SW300. And then this is probably 320 or something like that. Let's see here. Snap-on SW. Can I read it? Can I read it? Made in the USA. Can't find it. I can't read it on this tiny little camera. And so there we go. SW 324 or 320 probably. And so that would make more sense. So we have that going on. Man, how beautiful is that, right? And so let's see what the next one is. Yeah, it's another Snap-on. And so this one here is the 25/30 seconds. And so this one here is the SW250, it looks like. And so, or 60, maybe it's a 60. No, 250 it looks like there. So we love that. Then we got another Snap-on, SW240. And then another Snap-on, the 220. And so this is a whole matching set, at least from when it starts. So 11/16 it looks like on that side. And then we get into this one here, which is another Craftsman BE. So we got 3 so far of the BE in that. And then we come back into a Snap-on. And so SW160. I have to look and see what else I have that might make up this set. This is kind of an oddball. We had not seen this in any of the tools that we were able to be entrusted with from Bill and his lovely wife. This is a Thorson. And so that's kind of different. But then it jumps back into a Craftsman BE. And so, wow, what do you think about that? So again, Craftsman. So you can barely make out the BE that's there. Size-wise, looks like 7/16 that I could tell. All right, so that's what we got here. And so let's see where I can put this to give it some justice here. I don't know where to put it. Maybe we'll just put it right up here. I don't want to hide the the vice grip portion over here, the sure grip. All right, so there we got it. That's what we have, friends. So what do you think? Do you think that These are some nice gems that we've been entrusted with. Well, I 100% believe these are some beautiful, beautiful gems that we've been entrusted with. Why don't you think about it just a little bit, and then let me get the camera turned back around, and we'll do an end to the video. All right, I'll be right back here. Okay, and we are back. Can you believe it? Wow, what do you think about that tool haul? What do you think about that experience? Wow, you know, I've been reflecting now for about a week or so since I picked those tools up, and I got to tell you, that was a cool, cool, cool experience that I went through with Bill and his lovely wife. Just the very fact, can you imagine that they would open up their family possessions, their tools on this side, and they would entrust me with those things? Now, you know, I did pay Bill for them. We did have to make a deal, but you know, you stop and think about it. For me, it would be hard. You know, when I can link stuff, just the stuff that I can link to my dad, I can tell you, it just would be extremely difficult for me to ever let go. But then to link it to my mom, and then, you know, from there to his grandparents, oh, my goodness, they have been in the family a very, very long time. Would you not agree? And so, I don't know, you tell me, would you be able to go through and let go of tools that have been in your family for a long time? I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on the circumstances. For me, I think it would be hard. Or if I did, I would be just like Bill and his wife. I would have to find that right person that would take on that role. And so I am just beyond honored that Bill and his wife were able to recognize that we are going to provide a very good home for those tools. And I got to tell you, you know, what's my favorite? Well, I got to tell you, they're all my favorite. And part of the reason being is because I can link that history. For the first time, out of all the tools I've ever collected, and you know, we have some tools around here. This is the first time I think I can say, I love those owner's marks. Now, typically I'm not a fan of owner's marks, but these, I am beyond honored to have them in our box. And so thank you so much again, Bill, and your lovely wife for that. Now, if you are brand new to the channel, please hit subscribe. This kind of stuff we do. We just go out and do tool hauls. We do some restorations. Hopefully look out for these. These will probably be in another video when we're cleaning them all up and telling the story a little bit more. And then hit subscribe, hit the notification button, and most of all, please, please, please hit that like button. People will be notified that YouTube thinks that this is a good video for them, and that means the world to us. All right, we hope you liked it. Put your comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, we'll see you on the next video.